There's a moment many people know too well. You're doing better, you've changed, you're finally setting boundaries, and suddenly, someone brings up your past. A mistake you already paid for. A version of you that no longer exists. Something you've moved beyond. Not to understand you, but to put you back in your place. And in that moment, something tightens inside your chest. You feel the urge to explain, to defend yourself, to prove that you're not that person anymore. This is where most people lose their power. Because the real problem isn't your past. The real problem is that your past is being used as a weapon, and your emotional reaction hands them the trigger. Stoic philosophy sees this clearly. People don't bring up your past when they are strong. They do it when they are losing control over you in the present. They reach backward because they can't dominate you now. And the Stoic response is not anger, not denial, not endless explanations. It is emotional mastery, the kind of mastery where you don't flinch, where you don't get pulled into defending a version of yourself that's already dead, where one calm sentence is enough to end the game. In this video, you'll learn exactly what to say, and more importantly, how to say it when someone tries to use your past against you. Not to win an argument, but to reclaim your position. You'll understand why explaining weakens you, why silence unsettles manipulators, and how Stoics keep their dignity without hostility. Because the Stoic does not fight shadows. He stands firmly in who he is now, and when you master that, your past loses all power over you. Stay with me. 1. Why people use your past to control you. When someone brings up your past, it rarely comes from strength. It comes from loss of control. Think about the timing. They don't mention your past when you're obedient. They don't mention it when you're quiet. They don't mention it when you're easy to manage. They bring it up when you start changing. When you say no. When you stop explaining yourself. When you stop needing their approval. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. Using your past is one of the oldest psychological control tactics there is. Not because the past matters, but because guilt is leverage, and leverage creates hierarchy. There are 3 common types of people who use your past against you. The first is the person who has lost power over you. They were comfortable when you doubted yourself. They benefited when you stayed small. And now that you're standing straighter, they feel threatened. So they reach backward. They bring up who you were to pull you away from who you are. The second type is the person who refuses to accept growth. Your change forces them to confront their own stagnation. And instead of rising, they try to anchor you to an old version. It's easier to say, "You haven't changed," than to admit, "I haven't." The third type is the most dangerous. The person who needs moral superiority. They don't want resolution. They want position. As long as your past is on the table, they get to sit as the judge. And the moment you start defending yourself, you accept the courtroom. This is the critical Stoic insight. The past has no power on its own. It only has the power you give it through reaction. The moment you explain, you signal guilt. The moment you argue, you signal emotional investment. The moment you get angry, you signal that the wound is still open. And manipulators read signals extremely well. They don't need facts. They need reactions. Stoicism teaches something radically different. You are not obligated to relive your past for someone who cannot handle your present. Your mistakes may be real. Your growth is also real. And only one of those exists now. Marcus Aurelius wrote that if something is not within your control, it should not disturb your inner citadel. Your past is not within your control, but your response is. And that's where mastery begins. When you understand why people use your past, you stop taking it personally. You stop feeling ashamed. You stop feeling defensive. You start seeing it for what it is. A last attempt to regain influence. And here's the moment where power shifts. The instant you realize they need this more than you do. They need you to react. They need you to feel small again. They need the old version of you to stay alive. But you don't. And once you see that clearly, you're ready for the next step. Because knowing the game is what allows you to stop playing it. 2. The 3 wrong reactions that make you lose power. When someone uses your past against you, your mind reacts before you do. That reaction, not your past, is what decides who holds power in the room. Most people fall into one of 3 traps. Each one looks reasonable, each one feels justified, and each one silently hands control to the other person. The first wrong reaction is over-explaining. You start giving context, you list circumstances, you explain how you were younger, stressed, confused. On the surface, it sounds mature, but psychologically, it does one thing: it places you on trial. The moment you explain, you accept their authority to judge. You turn a closed chapter into an open debate. You give them more material to use against you. Stoicism is clear on this point. You do not owe clarity to someone who is using confusion as a weapon. Over-explaining doesn't resolve the situation. It feeds it. The second wrong reaction is repeated apologizing. You've already taken responsibility. You've already changed, but you keep saying sorry again and again. Not because you're guilty, but because you want the tension to end. This is emotional submission. Repeated apologies tell the other person, you still have power over me. They signal that your past is still active currency, that it can still be used to lower your position. Stoic emotional mastery means understanding this. An apology is meant to acknowledge wrongdoing, not to keep you permanently beneath someone else. Once responsibility has been taken, continuing to apologize only keeps the wound open. The third wrong reaction was emotional aggression. You get angry, defensive, sharp. You raise your voice. You attack back. You say things you later regret. This feels strong in the moment. But it's the weakest response of all, because it proves exactly what they want to prove, that your past still controls you. Anger tells them the story is unfinished, that the button still works, that they've hit something real. Stoicism never teaches emotional suppression, it teaches emotional command. And command begins with one thing: pause. Between the trigger and the response, there is a gap. That gap is where power lives. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by events, but by the judgments they attach to them. The moment you judge their comment as a threat, your body reacts. But when you see it for what it is, and attempt to regain control, your reaction changes. This is the Stoic shift. You stop responding to the content of what they say and start responding to the intent behind it. And the intent is never resolution, it's leverage. Once you see that, over-explaining feels unnecessary. Apologizing feels excessive. Anger feels pointless. You stop trying to win. You start holding position. This is where emotional mastery begins. Not in clever comebacks, not in moral superiority, but in refusing to play a game that requires your self-doubt. In the next part, you'll learn the exact Stoic sentence that ends this dynamic cleanly. No drama, no explanation, no escalation, just clarity and quiet authority. 3. The Stoic sentence that ends the game. When someone uses your past against you, they expect one of 3 things: an explanation, an apology, or an emotional reaction. They are prepared for all 3. What they are not prepared for is calm finality. This is where Stoic emotional mastery shows itself. Not in clever arguments, not in sharp comebacks, but in one grounded sentence, delivered without emotion. Here is the Stoic sentence: that's part of my past, I've already dealt with it. That's it. No follow-up, no justification, no change in tone. This sentence works because it does 3 things simultaneously. First, it acknowledges reality. You're not denying the past. You're not pretending it didn't happen. There is no lie, no evasion, That removes their ability to accuse you of avoidance. Second, it closes the timeline. "I've already dealt with it," tells them the issue is finished. Not under discussion, not open for revision. You're signaling that the past does not live here anymore. Third, and most important, it refuses emotional engagement. You're not asking for forgiveness. You're not seeking understanding. You're not trying to be seen as better now. You're simply stating a fact, and facts, delivered calmly, are immovable. This is what makes the sentence powerful. It does not challenge them. It does not provoke them. It does not invite response. It ends the exchange. Most people fail here because they add a second sentence. They say the line, and then they explain it. They soften it. They justify it. They try to make it land better. That second sentence is where power leaks out. Stoicism teaches precision. Say the line. Stop. Let the silence do the work. Silence after a calm statement creates discomfort. Not for you, but for them. Because manipulators rely on motion, on reactions, on emotional momentum. When you give them none, the dynamic collapses. Here's what happens internally when you say this sentence correctly. Your nervous system stays regulated. Your breathing stays steady. Your posture stays neutral. That physical calm communicates authority more than words ever could. People don't respond to what you say. They respond to how anchored you are when you say it. If they push again, that's not a failure. That's confirmation. It means they've lost control and are testing whether the door is really closed. And this is where Stoic discipline matters. You do not reopen the door. You repeat the sentence, or you say nothing at all. No escalation, no emotion, just presence. Remember this. The goal is not to make them understand. The goal is to remove their access to your inner world. When you stop needing them to get it, you stop giving them leverage. This is the Stoic difference. You are not trying to look innocent. You're not trying to be forgiven. You are standing in who you are now. And the moment you do that sincerely, your past stops being a weapon. It becomes irrelevant. In the next part, we'll go deeper. How to adapt this response to different people and situations without losing your edge. 4. Stoic variations for different situations. The Stoic sentence you learned is powerful, but emotional mastery is not rigidity. It's adaptation without losing your center. Different situations require slightly different tones, not different energy. The energy is always the same. Calm, final, unavailable for manipulation. Let's go through the most common situations where people try to weaponize your past, and how a Stoic responds without slipping. When it's a family member, family knows your history. They remember your lowest moments. And sometimes, they use that familiarity to keep you small. Not always out of malice, often out of fear that you've outgrown the old dynamic. The Stoic response here is respectful, but firm. That's behind me. I'm not that person anymore. You're not asking them to agree. You're informing them of reality. If they push further, you don't escalate emotionally. You disengage. Family pressure only works when you believe blood gives someone access to your inner world. Stoicism teaches otherwise. When it's a co-worker or superior. Here, the past is often used subtly. Side comments, passive-aggressive reminders, undermining credibility. Your response must be clean and professional. That's not relevant to this conversation. This does two things. It redirects focus to the present, and it quietly signals boundaries. You don't defend your character. You defend the context. If they repeat it, you don't argue. You repeat the line, or you document and disengage. Stoic mastery is knowing when words are tools and when silence is strategy. When it's an ex-partner or someone emotional, this is the hardest test because emotions are involved. History is intimate, and buttons were installed intentionally. Your response here must be emotionless clarity. I've moved on. This topic is closed. No nostalgia, no defensiveness, no rehashing. Ex-partners often bring up the past because they can't accept that their access is gone. Your calm finality confirms it. When it's said sarcastically or as a joke, this is a trap. They want plausible deniability. The Stoic response stays neutral. You're free to see it that way. This sentence is powerful because it refuses alignment. You're not agreeing, you're not fighting, you're withdrawing emotional participation. Most people don't know what to do when sarcasm meets calm, when it keeps happening repeatedly. This is when many people break. They think, I've already responded. Why won't they stop? Because repetition is not misunderstanding, it's testing. The Stoic escalation here is minimal and absolute. I'm not discussing this again. And then you stop. No explanation, no tone shift, no justification. You've drawn the line. If they cross it, the consequence is distance, not debate. This is a crucial Stoic principle. Boundaries are not arguments, they are decisions. You don't convince someone to respect your boundary. You enforce it through consistency. Across all situations, remember this. You are not trying to win approval, you are protecting inner order. And inner order is what gives Stoics their quiet authority. In the next part, we'll go deeper. What to do when they still push, and how Stoics use silence, distance, and withdrawal as tools of emotional dominance. 5. When they keep pushing, Stoic escalation. At some point, you'll realize something uncomfortable. You said the right thing. You stayed calm. You set a boundary. And they still keep bringing up your past. This is where many people get confused. They think, maybe I didn't explain clearly enough. Or worse, maybe I owe them more. Stoicism teaches the opposite. If someone keeps pushing after clarity, the issue is no longer communication. It is disrespect, and disrespect requires escalation, not emotionally, but structurally. Stoic escalation is not aggression, it is withdrawal of access. There are 3 levels to this escalation, and each one is deliberate. Level 1, emotional neutrality. At this stage, you change nothing in your words, but everything in your energy. You respond less, shorter, calmer. No facial reaction, no tone shift, no explanation. You are signaling, this no longer affects me. Many manipulators stop here, because without emotional fuel, the behavior loses reward. Level 2, silence. If neutrality doesn't work, you remove response entirely, not dramatic silence, not punishment silence, just absence. You don't reply to the comment. You don't engage with the jab. You don't correct their narrative. This is deeply uncomfortable for people who rely on control, because silence creates a vacuum, and in that vacuum, their behavior becomes visible to themselves and to others. Stoicism understands this well. Silence is not weakness when it follows clarity, it is consequence. Level 3, distance. This is the final form of Stoic escalation. If someone repeatedly disrespects your boundary, they lose proximity. Less conversation, less availability, less access to your life. Not announced, not explained, just enacted. Stoics do not threaten boundaries, they live them. This is where emotional mastery fully shows itself. You're no longer reacting to what they do. You're acting according to what you value, and what you value is inner order. Many people fear this step. They worry it looks cold, they worry it looks arrogant, they worry it will escalate conflict. But here is the Stoic truth. People who respect you do not need repeated explanations. People who don't respect you use explanations against you. Distance is not cruelty, it is clarity, and clarity ends games. Here's the hardest part to accept. You cannot control whether they change. You can only control whether they continue to have access. Marcus Aurelius warned against wasting time on people who refuse reason, not out of hatred, but out of respect for one's own life. Every time you engage unnecessarily, you pay with energy. Stoicism is the art of energy conservation. You invest only where there is return. So if someone continues to use your past against you, despite calm responses and clear boundaries, the Stoic conclusion is simple. They are no longer qualified for closeness. And qualification is not emotional. It's behavioral. In the next part, we'll shift inward. Because the ultimate victory is not silencing them. It's reaching a point where your past no longer triggers anything inside you. That's emotional mastery. 6. Emotional mastery, when your past no longer touches you. At the highest level of Stoic mastery, the goal is no longer to silence other people. The goal is to reach a point where your past no longer triggers anything inside you. Because as long as something inside you reacts, there is still a handle. And Stoicism is about removing handles. Most people think emotional mastery means not showing emotion. That's not mastery, that's suppression. Stoic emotional mastery is different. It means your nervous system stays calm because there is nothing left to defend. When someone brings up your past and you feel a surge, tight chest, fast thoughts, heat in your face, that's not because they're powerful. It's because part of you is still arguing with history, still trying to correct it, still wishing it had gone differently, still needing to be seen as not that person. Stoicism asks a harder question. What if the past doesn't need defending at all? The Stoic does not deny his mistakes. He also does not rehearse them. He understands this. The past is a fact. It is not a verdict. Facts don't argue. Verdicts do. When you internally accept the past as a closed fact, not something to justify or redeem, emotional charge dissolves. And without emotional charge, manipulation has nowhere to land. Marcus Aurelius wrote about not being disturbed by insults that describe what no longer exists. Why? Because you don't protect a house you no longer live in. Emotional mastery is relocation. You move your identity fully into the present. Here's how you know you're reaching this level. When someone mentions your past, your breathing doesn't change. Your posture doesn't shift. Your tone stays neutral. Not because you're forcing calm, but because calm is natural. That's the difference. The Stoic doesn't try to be unbothered. He is unbothered because he's no longer negotiating with who he used to be. This doesn't happen by accident. It happens through deliberate reframing. You stop asking, how do I make them stop? And you start asking, why does this still matter to me? That question is uncomfortable. But it's where freedom lives. The answer is never, because they're wrong. It's usually, because I haven't fully released that identity yet. Once you do, something subtle but powerful changes. You stop preparing responses in your head. You stop anticipating attacks. You stop bracing for conversations. Your presence becomes lighter, and lightness is strength. Because nothing pulls you off center anymore. At this stage, even silence becomes effortless. Not strategic, not calculated, just natural disengagement. And here's the paradox. When people realize your past no longer touches you, they stop bringing it up. Not because you ask them to stop, but because the tactic no longer works. Power follows results, and emotional neutrality is a result. In the final part, we'll ground this mastery into practice, so it doesn't stay philosophical. Because Stoicism is not about knowing, it's about living in a way where the past truly stays where it belongs. 7. Stoic practice. Fully releasing the past. Understanding Stoicism is not enough. You can know every principle and still react. Because release is not intellectual, it's behavioral. Stoic emotional mastery is built through practice, not insight alone. This final part gives you a simple, Stoic framework to permanently remove your past as a trigger, not by erasing it, but by demoting it. Step 1. Reclassify the past. Most people treat their past as a verdict. I was that person. I ruined things. I should have known better. Stoicism reframes this immediately. The past is data, not identity. So the first practice is this. Write down the specific event people keep bringing up, then answer one question. Honestly, what did this teach me that I use today? Not how it hurt you, not how unfair it was. What skill, boundary, or clarity came from it? When you extract the lesson, the past loses its emotional weight. It becomes training, not shame. Step 2. Define who you are now in behavior. Most people say, I've changed. Stoicism doesn't care about declarations. It cares about patterns. So define your present identity in actions, not traits. Not, I'm better now, but I keep my word. I pause before reacting. I leave situations that lack respect. When your identity is behavioral, no one can debate it. You don't defend who you are. You demonstrate it, and demonstrations don't argue. Step 3. Close the internal argument. Here's the part most people avoid. As long as you are still arguing with your past internally, others can pull you back into it. So the Stoic closes the case. Literally. Say this out loud or on paper. This chapter is closed. I take the lesson. I release the identity. No drama, no emotion, just finality. Stoicism teaches that what you repeatedly affirm with reason becomes internal order. Once the argument is closed internally, external reminders lose force. Step 4. Practice non-engagement. The final practice is simple, but uncomfortable. When the past is brought up again, you do not rehearse a better response later. You do not replay the conversation. You do nothing. No mental commentary, no self-judgment, no rehashing. This is critical. Every replay keeps the past alive. Non-engagement is how things die. Stoics understood that attention is oxygen. Remove oxygen, and the fire goes out. Over time, something changes. You stop anticipating attacks. You stop preparing defenses. You stop bracing emotionally. And when that happens, people sense it. Not consciously, but instinctively. They stop reaching for the past because it no longer gives them anything. That's when you know you're free. Not when they stop talking, but when you stop caring whether they do. This is Stoic emotional mastery. Not hardness, not coldness. Clarity. And clarity is untouchable. You've seen it now. When someone uses your past against you, it's rarely about truth. It's about control. They reach backward because they can't dominate you in the present. They speak of who you were because they feel you slipping beyond who they can manage. Stoicism doesn't ask you to erase the past. It asks you to put it in its rightful place. You learned why people weaponize history, why explaining weakens you, why calm finality ends the game, and why true emotional mastery isn't about silencing others, but about removing their access to your inner world. The Stoic does not argue with shadows. He does not defend ghosts. He stands firmly in who he is now, and that stance changes everything. When your past no longer triggers shame, no one can use it to control you. When your reactions are disciplined, manipulation has nowhere to land. And when you stop needing to be understood, you become impossible to dominate. This is not coldness. This is clarity. This is not arrogance. This is self-respect. If you take only one thing from this video, let it be this. You're not obligated to relive a past that no longer defines you. Your responsibility is not to explain. It is to live correctly, today. If this message resonated, comment below. I am not my past. Say it once. Mean it. Then live from it. Subscribe if you want more Stoic teachings that build real inner authority. Not comfort, not noise, but strength. And remember, your past is over. Your power is now.